Thanks. Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm Jody. Thanks for joining on this sunny, beautiful, but very cold Friday. You might be feeling that in your body today, so maybe a bit more stiffness, a bit more need for warmth. So we will get right into it. We're going to actually start seated today, mixing things up. So I always like to sit on a bolster or a pillow, a block, or this trusty blanket. You can just fold that up and sit on the non-fringy edge. You want to sit on that clean edge. You can have other props around you. You might be using a scarf today or a strap, something. Even a long sleeve shirt would work. You can have the blocks maybe supporting you under the legs. So if you feel like you can't quite ground yet, if the body's cold, I know I've got some injuries in my left leg. It feels good to have that support. And so instead of forcing the body to the ground, it's just not going to go. And that's fine. Maybe by the end of practice, we'll see. You can have the support of the blocks. So this allows us to sit in a really comfortable way. So the body is not serving as a distraction for the mind. We can close the eyes and just begin the practice within. The whole purpose of yoga is to still the mind. Find that place of nirvana, samadhi, bliss, true connection to yourself and all things. And starting with the breath, deep breaths in and out of the body. Notice if the breath feels sticky or slow, fast. Observing if one nostril feels more open than the other. Just noticing the quality of your breath this morning. Noticing without any kind of judgment. Just this breath, this moment. Starting to breathe in your intention, breathing in the energy you want to receive from this practice. I always like to breathe in with some gratitude in the morning, setting the tone for the day and for the practice. Breathing out any heaviness of the heart and the mind, anything you're carrying that doesn't feel like it's serving you in this moment. And letting that be your breath just for a moment. Quiet, stillness. And breath. And taking a cleansing breath, you can breathe in through the nose, releasing out through the mouth. And then begin to reach the fingertips towards the earth. Once again, connecting to the breath, finishing an exhalation here. As you inhale, begin to draw the arms up. Maybe the gaze lifts, you can slightly arch the back, and then exhale, hands through heart center. Pressing palms firmly together, and then inhale. Drawing the arms up, squeeze the shoulder blades along the spine and the back body, really lift through the spine, and then exhale, hands through the heart. A couple more times like that, inhaling, feeling that expansion, that lifting, and exhale. Bring that gratitude into the heart one more time, just like that. Hands to the heart, thumbs to the sternum, head bowed, sealing your intention within. Maybe repeating that intention to yourself 3 times, keeping it close to your heart. And keeping the head bowed. Relaxing the arms. The hands can rest on thighs or knees. Just a moment to sway the head gently from side to side. Like you're tracing the collarbones with the chin. Moving like half moons, half circles. Relaxing the jaw, release any tension in the face. And swaying the head over to that right side, reaching the left arm down, fingertips can touch the earth or reach towards the earth, creating that opening on the left side of the neck, space between the shoulder and the ear, and with that, just rocking the head back and forth. Be in no hurry here. The slower we go, the more sensation the body can process, the more benefits potentially we can receive. And then stilling the movement, ear above the shoulder as you start to change the gaze down, chin more towards the collarbone. No intention of the two ever touching. Just a change of position, change of stretch, breathing here. You can actively drive that left shoulder down without any kind of force, just an intentional movement, and then just start to circle the nose in space. So something you can do each and every day, especially if you carry tension in the neck and the shoulders. It takes a few minutes for the body to come back to a healthy way of being. And then circling in the opposite direction. Again, just nice and slow, take your time, breathing. And then pausing for a moment. Creating space. Maybe you found a sweet spot that needs a little bit more tension. Just breathing into that space. One more breath. Take your time. Relaxing the head heavy, chin centered over the chest, the hands back to thighs or knees, rounding the spine, tucking the tailbone. Finishing your exhalation here. Knees release towards the earth, and then inhale, reach the heart forward and up as you lift the gaze gently up. It's gentle in the neck, and then exhale, rounding. Separate the shoulder blades. Inhale, opening. Rocking the pelvis forward and back. A couple more times like that. Just thinking about resetting back through center. One more exhalation, and then as you inhale, just grow the spine tall. You can keep the head bowed and sway the head gently, slowly from side to side. Let's do the other side. As you rock the head to the right, maybe feeling a bit less tension than as you rock the head to the left. Just noticing that, any changes, any difference in your body. And then do rock the head over to that left side. And start to reach the right fingers down. Really actively drawing that right shoulder down. From here, head can rock and move from back and forth. And all into all of those little corners, those little edges, all of the various muscles that support the movement of the head. neck, the shoulders. Breathe. Move the ear more over the shoulder, spine tall, reaching the right arm down. Bring the gaze down, chin to the collarbone. No forcing anything as you begin to slowly create those circles in space. Take your time. And circling in the opposite direction. Notice if the mind's wandering. Stay with sensation, stay with breath, move with your intention. When you lose sight, there's always a way to come back onto the path. And then find a place that is in need of a bit more love, a bit more breath. Just a few more moments in that space. One more breath here. And starting to rock the head forward, starting to relax the hand back to the thigh or the knee. Starting to simply round the spine once again. Tuck the chin, tuck the tailbone, and breathe here. Now as you inhale, open the heart, growing the spine tall, taking some rolls through shoulders up, back and down. And one more time, just rolling through the shoulders. And start to move any props out of the way. Do have your strap within arm's reach. Make sure there's plenty of room back behind you on the mat. And from here, hands to the backs of the thighs. Rocking back onto the back. Some core strength. Arriving in a full body stretch. Arms long, legs long. Spread the fingers, spread the toes. You can open and close the mouth into a yawn. Just a nice release of any back body tension from being seated for a bit. And flex and point through feet. Roll through ankles to wrists. Snap, crackle, pop in the joints. Rock the legs a little, back and forth. Starting to bend one knee, bend the other. And for a moment, just relax arms alongside the body. Tuck the shoulders down away from the ears. And then find your breath. Inhale. As you exhale, tuck the tailbone and think about lengthening through the spine. Flattening out the low back, and then as you inhale, just release the effort slowly. The entire inhalation is that release, and the entire exhalation is the pressing. So meeting that end range of movement at the end of the breath. Letting that occupy your mind for the next several breaths. It's the beauty of the breath-guided movements. Really find that overlap, that connection between the two. Next time you exhale and press the low back into the earth, pause there, draw the thighs into the belly, knees to the chest. And just a moment here, hands to the knees or shins, elbows heavy, start to separate the knees wide without force. Head heavy, shoulders relaxed, and breathe. One more breath. And pressing the palms to the tops of the thighs, pressing right and then left. So you're moving just the hips from side to side. The torso is pretty stationary. You're just pressing one leg then the other. So there has to be a little bit of engagement of the legs so you don't just collapse in this movement and rocking from side to side. And slowing that movement down. And then finding your strap. You'll place that at the ball mound of both feet. Right where the toes meet the feet. And draw the feet just skyward. Think about this as less of a stretch for the body and more of a reversal of energy and gravity. So making sure the strap is supporting you symmetrically on the feet and spread the toes. You can always have soft knees. You can always have something between the legs if knee bones are uncomfortable pressing against one another. And relaxing through the toes, and just think about lifting the heels skywards to maybe get more of a sensation of stretch. Less of a death grip on the strap. Shoulders stay relaxed, head is softly nestled into the mat. And then just ask yourself what you need here. Maybe you stay because this is beautiful. So really learning to listen to your body, or maybe it feels good to separate the feet along the strap. Just opening up the legs, a wide open V of the legs. Just a moment here. Again, this can be more about the nervous system, less about the stretching. The body to feel supported. Calming and balancing the hormones, balancing the nervous system. Taking 3 more deep belly breaths wherever you're at. Toning the muscles of the legs very slowly. If you're not there already, bringing the legs closer together. And bring the hands closer to the feet on the strap. Bring the soles of the feet together, knees to the side. Start to bend the knees. You can draw the feet in close. Heels to the inner V of the body. Maybe start to feed the legs out. Still driving the knees apart. Maybe drawing the legs in a little bit, so flying cobbler's pose, flying Baddha Konasana. Sometimes I like to do that back and forth movement in the hips here as well. This can feel good. And then eventually releasing the pinky toe edges of feet towards the earth. Let them rest on the ground. You can press the palms right where the torso meets the legs, and think about pressing the legs away from you. Think about lengthening in the spine. Feel that tractioning of the spine. And then releasing the arms, floating them up overhead. You can take hold of either elbow. 3 deep breaths here. And then starting to relax the arms, float them down alongside the body like a snow angel in reverse. Eventually, slowly
Arriving, palms can press into the earth alongside the body, alongside the hips, and then press the soles of the feet together energetically. Engaging the pelvic floor, engage the glutes, and the strap can move or not. Mine's not bothering me, but start to lift the hips away from the earth, and it doesn't have to be a big lift. This can be challenging, so we're just engaging and with the intention of lifting. Driving the knees further apart as you lift the hips up. One more breath. And then soften and release back down. Just a moment here, breathing, noticing. That can build some heat in the body. We'll do that just one more time. So soles of the feet press together, knees drive to the ground, glutes and pelvic floor active, core active as you lift the hips and breathe. And then exhale to release and notice the body. You can press the palms to the outer edges of the knees, drawing the knees up. At this point, you can move the strap out of the way. And then bring the inner knees together to touch as you open up the arms, open up the heart. Feet can walk towards the edges of the mat, the outer side edges, just to the point where the knees still rest against one another. Belly is soft here. Inhale. As you exhale, again, we're using the entire exhalation to release legs to the right, maybe gaze to the left. Use the entire inhalation to draw the knees back through center. And then exhale, using that exhalation into its fullest, knees to the left, gazing to the right. Inhaling, using that entire inhalation at the end, at the top of the inhalation, the knees touch. And then exhale. At the bottom of the exhalation, the legs are at their end range of motion. Head as well, moving to the left. And you're just going to move like this so mindfully, so slowly. This beautiful dance of breath and body, moving as one. Feel the earth support you, feel your ground. Feel the heat building as you move. Moving slightly constrict to the back of the throat, more of an ujjayi breath, creating that inner heat, inner warmth, this cold, blowy winter day. Driving the knees further away from you as we've opened up range of motion a bit with these movements. So getting more of that end range, elongating those exhalations a bit more. So those longer exhalations ground us. Connect us more fully with the earth. Let's just say a couple more times from side to side. It's moving meditation. And one more time to the right. Driving that left knee away from the left hip. And then one more time, over to the left with the knees, gazing to the right, feeling that twisting, and spiraling with the spine. Arriving back through center, knees resting. Maybe you can walk the outer edges of the feet further away from one another, if that feels good for the joints, for the body. Heart is open, little rock of the head from side to side, and then stillness, just 3 deep belly breaths here. cleansing breath. That feels good. Starting to separate the knees, heel to toe, the feet closer together. You can draw the knees into the chest. Press the palms out to a T alongside the body, palms facing down. Use our core. Press the knees and ankles together. Inhale through center. And then exhale over to the right. Hover above the earth. And then inhale back through center using the obliques on the left side of the body. Exhale over to the left, hover. Energetically squeeze the knees together. And then inhale through center. So we're using core strength here. It's the slow burn, so at first feels easy, accessible, not very challenging. But if you're doing the work and engaging, you start to feel that. So really engaging those side bodies as you draw the legs back through center. Squeezing the legs together, drawing the heels in towards the butt. Again, we want to counter the cold, we want to build that core strength. This will do it. Let's just say a couple more times from side to side. If you want more challenge, well, then don't use arms at all. And lift the arms. It's a bit more challenging for the core. And then planting the feet, just a baby bridge. I've scooted all the way down onto my mat. It's a traveling twist. Baby bridge, tuck the tailbone, lift the hips, soften the belly, and breathe. Just lengthening through the thighs, lengthening through the spine. Not going for our deepest bridge here. Just one more inhalation. And then exhale to lower down. And then you can watch for a moment, and then I'll guide you through it. We're going to do a quad hip flexor stretch in our bridge pose. So in this way, I'm drawing the toes in, the heels are lifting. At the same time, I'm lifting my hips up, and then I'm taking hold of the tops of the feet or the ankles, driving the knees away from my hips, and engaging the glutes, pressing up. So to start, you just draw the toes in nice and close. Lift the hips up. You can take hold of the tops of the feet. I'm tucking my shoulders under the back body, and then drive the knees away from you. And you should feel a beautiful stretch in the quads, maybe in the hip flexors, certainly opening up this whole pelvic girdle, core, the shoulders. Make sure you can breathe here. Keep the neck neutral, gazing skyward. One more breath. And then to come out, you can just release the elbows to the side and just start to kind of shimmy the shoulders so that you can free up the legs. Once you're free, take a full body stretch. Arms long, legs long. Again, any kind of movement or stretch here that feels good for your body. Feel the energy just kind of flow through the legs once it's been released. Like to rock the legs a little back and forth. You can see if this has freed up that femur bone in the hip socket, all of these movements that we've done, hopefully a lot more freedom in the legs and the hips. And we carry a lot of tension, we hold our unresolved emotions. And then hug the knees into the chest. It's up to you. You can rock to the side, or you can start to rock forward and back along the length of the spine. Hands to the shins, try not to pump with the legs. And it's the same thing where we're keeping heels to the butt, thighs to the belly, just rocking. The action coming from the core. Rocking up through seated. From here, you can roll over shins, planting the palms. And we're just going to come into a tabletop position. And from here, walk the hands so the fingers face the side walls. And just rock from side to side. And warming up the wrist joints. Don't go so far that it doesn't feel good. So if there's tension, maybe a little tension on the right wrist today, I'm not going to go so far that it causes that tension and sharpness. Just kind of ease into it. One more time, rocking from side to side, back through center. If it feels good for your body, you can start to walk the hands, the fingers face the rear corners of the mat. Really lengthen through the spine, maybe arch the back. If you want to go deeper, further, maybe the fingers face the knees. You can flow through a couple cat-cows. Again, we're not forcing anything. If none of this feels good, you can just flow through cat-cow in a regular hand position, depending on what you've got going on. It's really hard to teach to an empty room, not seeing people and their needs, so you know what you need. Just let that happen. Let that unfold in the body. And then after your next exhalation, that long neutral spine as you start to walk the hands, so the fingers face forward once again. And from here, you can curl the toes under, walk the hands back, shifting the weight over the feet, and shifting the hips from side to side. Just a little sway, opening up the toes. And back through center. Untuck the toes, walk the hands out, slightly tap the tops of the feet into the earth. And then find a couple blocks. Curl the toes under once again, walk the hands back with the blocks, lift the knees, and then as you come into your forward fold, step the feet out wide. From here, you can bend one knee, then the other. Spreading toes, broadening through feet. You can sway the hips a little from side to side. Really just utilizing the blocks for now. Back through your center, starting to walk the blocks with the hands, the heart, the torso to the left. And you can start to bend the left knee, lengthen the right leg, drawing that right hip back as you reach the right arm with that block out beyond the left block. Neck is neutral, gazing down and breathe. Side body stretch, I'm feeling at my shoulder. Those obliques that we worked, core, the sides, getting that stretch. Breathe into that space. One more breath. And then incrementally and slowly, you can tone the core to protect the low back through the transition, arriving back through center. Maybe a couple of cat-cows here. And be really subtle in the movement. Notice as you lift the tailbone, it creates a stretching in the hamstrings. After your next exhalation, just come back to a nice long neutral spine. Starting to walk the hands, the heart, the torso, the blocks to the right, bend the right knee, reach that left arm out. As you lengthen the left leg, you're actively drawing that left hip back in space. So most of the support is coming through the feet and the legs. Try not to dump into the blocks too much. They're just there to do like 10 to 15% of the work. Bicep can be by the ear, gazing down, neutral neck, deep breath. One more breath. And then take your time, walking the blocks back through center. Arriving, angle the toes out, the heels in, maybe the feet a little closer together. Just come into a squatted position, let the hips be heavy. And you can relax the forearms onto the blocks as the head is heavy. Beautiful stretch for the low back. You can sway the head from side to side. Finding stillness, one more deep breath. And starting to rise up. You're still on the toes, still have knees bent. As you release the knees to the earth, bring the blocks to the high height at the top of the mat. Just having them in place. Make sure you've got some room. And you're on your knees. Fingertips facing forward, elbows hug into the midline, shifting the weight of the body forward, tuck the tailbone and engage the core. Take an inhalation here. And then as you exhale, just lower down, nice and slow with control, coming onto the belly. A moment to prop up into Sphinx pose. Forearms parallel to one another, active through the legs, driving the tailbone down towards the heels. So we're going to do just a couple Sphinx roll-ups here, engaging core. Take an inhalation, open the heart. And then as you exhale, curl the spine, round and peel the belly and the pelvis and the thighs away from the earth. And then inhaling, releasing the thighs, the pelvis, the belly, reach the heart forward. Lift the gaze, and then exhale, rounding and peeling. Inhaling, just laying the body back down with that mindful release, mindful grounding, heart open, neck neutral. A couple more like that. Exhale. Inhale. One more time. Exhaling, peeling, lifting. Inhaling slowly back to the ground. You can lengthen out here, elbows to the side, rest either cheek on hands or forearms, inner big toes touch. You can sway the hips from side to side, releasing any tension in the low back. And then lifting the head. Neck is neutral, palms under the shoulders. Lift up into cobra. Feel your engagement here. And then exhale, you can flow through the knees or just press up through plank into your down dog. From down dog, pedal out through feet. Bending one knee, bending the other. Isolating that stretch in the backs of the legs. Head is heavy. Walking the feet closer together each time you pedal the feet. Until the inner big toes touch, pressing the mat away. And then with the left foot, leading with the left heel, inhale it long. Heel lifting skyward. And then as you exhale, hollow out the belly, bend the knee, planting that foot between the palms, reach for your blocks. Coming into a lunge here. And from here, you're framing that front foot with the blocks. You can rock back and forth. Really lengthening out through that right leg. From here, finding stillness. You can stay here, or you can walk your hands to your left thigh. Keep the hips low. You can stay here or come away from the leg, keeping that right leg nice and long. So hopefully at this point, getting a little more heat in the body. From here, you can come into goalpost arms, cactus arms. You can uplift the arms. Just breathe. Hips squaring forward, tall in the spine. One more inhalation. And then as you exhale, framing that front foot, you can move the blocks out of the way. Sweeping that left leg back in plank, you can vinyasa or just meet in down dog. So inhale, prepare, shifting forward. Exhale, maybe knees to the earth as you lower down. Inhaling into your cobra. And then exhale, pressing up and back, down dog. Pedal it out a little bit. Pedaling feet closer together. Inner big toes touch. Draw the low belly in and up. Inhale that right leg, heel lifting skyward. Keep the hips squared, and then exhale, hollow out the belly, shift forward, plant that foot, reach for the blocks, move the blocks, and use them. Just setting yourself up with a little rocking from forward and back. Just to sense the body in this pose, really get your balance in place, hands to the thigh. Lengthen through that left leg, engage through the left butt. Hips stay low, arms can release away, squeezing and engaging upper back body. Maybe goalpost arms. If that feels good, we've got options. You can uplift the arms as well. Always feel stronger with my right quad. Just a difference in the legs, just noticing that in your own body. Where do you feel most supported? Breathing, one more inhalation. And then as you exhale again, you can move the blocks away as you frame that front foot, sweep it back into plank. Core strength here, inhale, shift forward. Arm strength, exhale, lower down. Inhale, cobra. And this time as we exhale, through the knees, round the spine, press back into a child's pose, resting here. Reconnect to the breath. One more breath. And stretching the arms long, lift the elbows, lift the gaze to fingers. Shifting off of the knees, so you can curl the toes under, lift hips up and back, down dog. Inner big toes touch. We'll do that again. Inhale the left leg. Exhale, shift forward, planting the foot between the palms. You can come to the blocks, you can stay here. Hands to the knee, or just immediately into your lunge position, high lunge. Can you arch the back more here? Can you engage that right butt even more? Sinking the hips lower, just getting more out of this pose in the time that we have together. Make sure the toes aren't gripping, you're feeling balanced equally in that foot, especially the left foot. One more inhalation here. And then as you exhale, again, it's your choice to vinyasa, or just down dog, or even child's pose. And we'll all meet together in our down dog. Feeling some fluidity in the body now that we've warmed the body. I know I'm warmer. Inner big toes touch. Down dog. Inhale, right leg. Exhale, step it through. Finding the blocks. Maybe you don't need them. Maybe you stair step up to any position of lunge that you like, that feels appropriate for your body today. Again, firing up that left butt, sink the hips low, straighten that back leg, open the heart in any variation. Doesn't matter what the arms are doing. There's intention. There's breath. There's awareness of strength. It takes a lot of balance to be here, so steady the eyes. One more inhalation. And then again, as you exhale, move those blocks out of the way if you use them. Frame that foot, sweep it back, either vinyasa or just down dog or a child's pose. Let's take 3 more breaths in any of these resting shapes.
knees to the earth. You can come to seated on shins for just a moment. Sweeping the hips, shifting the hips to one side as you sweep the legs out in front. And just a little bit of time for some more outer hip love. So before we start that, bring the palms alongside the hips, bend the knees, plant the feet wide. Baby movements, little baby movements of the knees. See if you can feel that sensation of massage in the glutes. And then bigger movements, still staying mindful of that, but also mindful of the hips themselves, your ability to move in the hip socket, the legs to move in the hip socket. And then just one more time, sweeping the knees from side to side. Bring back through center, lengthen the legs. Tall spine, Dandasana. Bending the left knee, placing the outer ankle, the ankle bone, to that right side of the right leg. Flex the right foot, sit up nice and tall, and think about driving that left thigh down towards the earth. So we've got options here. You can take hold of your strap, place it at the ball of the right foot, hinging at the hips, driving the left thigh down. You can also plant the palms alongside the hips, bending through the right knee, keep the heart open. I prefer this one only because I've got a little mobility. I can rock a little more from side to side, doing that self-massage in a stretch. That can feel good for that outer hip. Just a few more breaths here, closing the eyes or softening the gaze. Taking your time wherever you're at. So you can lengthen the right leg, keep the left foot flexed, lengthen it. Let the feet go wide. We're just pumping the backs of the legs into the earth. Just mindful of the release. You can rock the legs a little back and forth. And roll at the ankles, flex and point through feet. Breathe. Sigh. Let it all go. Sway of the head. Dandasana once again. Doing the other side, so flexing through both feet. Keeping that flexion as you bend the right knee, outer ankle on top of the left thigh. This is definitely my tight spot. That outer right hip always tighter than the left. Just habitual movements of all of my hundreds of years on this earth. So it'll take another 100 or so years to open up that hip. That's fine, it's a lifelong journey, right? So you can use the strap again if that felt good for the dual stretch, hamstring, hip. Maybe you want that. Palms can come alongside the hips, bending the knee, and again, I like that self-massage. I like to work into that outer right hip. Rocking over to that right side and back. Lubricating the joint through a little bit of movement. And then ultimately a place of stillness. Think about the shin. The right shin coming in towards the chest. Closing the eyes. Just a few breaths here. Tall spine. I have to collapse in the posture. Feel sensation, using every breath. Inhale, opening. Exhale, deepening into the shape without collapsing in the posture.
Just one more breath. Start to lengthen out through the legs. Keep that right foot flexed as you lengthen through it. Feet wide. And pump the legs, rock the legs. Roll through ankles. Sway the head. Scooting forward, bending the knees. Reaching between the thighs for the pinky to toe edges of feet. Walking heels back. See if you can find a bit of balance and tuck the tailbone round the spine. Slowly make your way onto your back. Lift the head so you don't crash the head to the ground. You landed in your happy baby. Feet skyward, a deep bend in the knees. Shoulders relaxed, head relaxed. You can stay here or anything else that you need to finish out your practice. Maybe just a longer Shavasana, or it takes you time to set up for Shavasana. And then we'll transition into the final resting pose. So starting to lengthen the legs, feet wide. Maybe you've got support of bolsters or pillows under the knees, especially if there's low back tension. Arms along the side, draw the shoulders down away from ears. You can rock the head a little from side to side. Eventually the back of the head rests. There's a long spine, symmetry of the body from side to side. Taking this time to close the eyes and simply rest. Begin to deepen your breath as you reawaken your body with movements, fingers, toes, ankles, wrists. And open and close the mouth into a yawn as you stretch arms long overhead. Full body stretch. Breathing, maybe a cleansing breath, a final release. Anything that is still not serving you, just let it go. Bending one knee, bend the other. See how slowly, mindfully you can roll to either side, curling into a fetal position. Head supported by the arm like a pillow, belly soft. With closed eyes or a soft gaze, take your time, pressing up to seated, have a rounded spine and a heavy head. Finishing like we started. Noticing the body, noticing what's open for you. Observing the breath. Bring the hands to your heart, recalling your attention, taking that with you, or maybe something new. Something to keep you connected to yourself. Namaste. Thank you everyone for joining.